If you can raise your hand and say, I have struggled with addiction in my life, I need you to understand, you have hit the jackpot. You are one of those people who have been chosen to have a very unique set of experiences that lead to the opportunity for you to step onto a path that is second to none. This can be your path to the truth, your path to healing, your path to fulfillment. Young Elliot, what have you to say for yourself today? What are you bringing to In the Circle? What is on your heart? What is on your mind?
Hello. Well, firstly, let me say how grateful I am to be here and talking with you both today. It's really brilliant. So my inquiry that is quite present for me at the moment is the need or the want to work a 12-step program. And I suppose my question, if such, is do I need to work a 12-step program to obtain long-term recovery? And if I can just put a bit of backstory to that, I'm currently around 3.5 years sober, and from drugs and alcohol. And I suffered in the midst of addiction for up to 15 years, the more I've looked at it. And when I finally, 3.5 years ago, found myself at a place of bottom, there was a big change for me in that single place. And at the time, I wasn't brave enough to go into 12-step meeting rooms. My addictions were very much secretive. I was quite high functioning, really. People didn't really know what was going on for me other than those that were close to me. And I really didn't want to be an addict initially. So I never went into those rooms, and I found my path into psychotherapy and therapy and started to do my work that way. And it was amazing. It really helped me change my life from what it was to what it is today. And I'm very grateful for that. However, in the last sort of 6 months, I've been much more curious about the 12-step rooms, and I found myself ready to walk into them. And I've been attending meetings and connecting with the community that's here in my city. And I've really benefited from that, and it is a big part of my life now, the rooms. So I suppose there's a curiosity now and a reluctance on whether I want to work the 12 steps, because I feel very protective of what I've got so far. There's this long period of sobriety that means so much to me that I don't want to lose or risk or give away, and I'm very aware in these rooms, it's very much, this is the way and you must do it this way. And this is the kind of language that gets presented with me that kind of pushes me back a little bit, because I've got another way that's worked for me up until now. So to give a single question is, do you believe that long-term recovery from drug and alcohol addiction is achievable without the work of the 12 steps? Thank you.
I cannot thank you enough for this inquiry, Elliot. We'll spend the next 15 hours here communicating, if you don't mind. No, we're gonna jump right in and we'll get right to it. Hold a moment. First of all, congratulations on 3.5 years of your sobriety. Amazing. The first thing I would say is there's no one way to find the truth, to connect with freedom, and to be fulfilled in this life. There's no one way. But there are certain things that we know are important to experience or go through in our journey. So if you're somebody who has experienced addiction, which you have shared you have, and that you're in recovery from that, there's a few similarities that we notice, a few characteristics, a few things that pop up in our common experience as people who have experienced addiction. One of the things that we note is that we have this interesting connection, or I should say attachment, to the past. And I don't mean that in necessarily a positive way, the word attachment. That we can be stuck in the past with resentment or anger or unresolved trauma or unresolved emotion or unresolved story. So this is the first thing, is your inquiry is asking about long-term recovery. Is it necessary to work the 12 steps to reach long-term recovery? And what I'm going into right here is to say that what you mean by long-term recovery and what I mean by long-term recovery might be different. So we're going to get to definition there. Like what I'm interested in, long-term recovery, if you're just talking about, I stayed sober for a very, very long period of time, that to me is called abstinence. That's abstinence. I used to behave in these addictive ways. I put it down. A long time passed. And now I'm in long-term recovery because I haven't used those substances or acted out in those addictive ways since then. To me, that's just abstinence. If you're going to speak about recovery, now we have to get into this really controversial thing. What are we recovering? Everybody uses the word recovery. I'm in recovery. I'm in long-term recovery. Okay. What are you working on recovering? Now, I can't answer that question for you or for anyone, but I can suggest and tell you what is of interest to me. I'm interested in recovering the relationship with my true self. I'm interested in recovering my connection to spirit, to God, to a higher power, to nature, to everything that is. I'm interested in recovering a true and authentic expression of my heart and spirit in this body and on the planet Earth at this time. I want to recover these things. And addiction kept me at a distance from all of that. So if you're saying to me, is it necessary to work the 12 steps to achieve those things, that freedom, that fulfillment, that sense of, the answer is, there is no one way. But if you dissected the 12 steps and you looked at what they actually do, and you noticed one of the things these 12 steps do is they heal my relationship with the past. What I would say is, you're going to have to do that. And whether you do that through therapy or yoga or the 12 steps, or like me, all of those things, because I needed all of those things to do it, you're going to have to do it one way or another. So does it have to be the 12 steps? No. Are the 12 steps effective? Yes. Will they help you to build a relationship, to begin to move to the present moment? Yes. Will they help you build a relationship with something greater than yourself? Yes. Will they help you to have a spiritual experience? Yes. That's why they were designed to deliver that. You can choose whether you want that to be your program or another thing, another approach. But the thing that I always want to encourage people to understand is, if not the 12 steps, then you need to choose something if you want to be in recovery at all. Otherwise, you'll just be in abstinence. I don't recommend it. I know many people in my life who have been in abstinence for long, long swaths of time. And oh my God, they paid the price. It was a relationship they lost, or a relationship they were in where they were suffering, or a relationship they got into and realized, oh my God, I'm freaking out. Or it was the loss of somebody or something near or dear to them, a grief. Or it was their career and a lack of a feeling of purpose and meaning in the world. They felt disconnected. Or there was chronic pain in their body. Or they had an accident. Or they had chronic mental issues coming up. Something came for these people and they did not have a program. They did not have a spiritual footing to stand on. They had not developed themselves to the point where they were able to actually navigate through the challenges of this life with grace, skill, and effectively. If you can raise your hand unto yourself, raise your hand and say, I have struggled with addiction in my life. I need you to understand, you have hit the jackpot. You are one of those people who have been chosen to have a very unique set of experiences that lead to the opportunity for you to step onto a path that is second to none. This can be your path to the truth, your path to healing, your path to fulfillment. Does it have to be the 12 steps? No. That would be absurd for someone to say, this is the only way. But since you happen to enjoy these meetings, since you are enjoying the connections you're having there, since you're drawn to continue to go to more meetings, why not? It's there for you, for the taking. You get to choose a sponsor, and I say choose wisely. Somebody that you really feel connected to, and when you look at them, you say, I think that person has their game together. And I'd like to catch what they have. Maybe if I go through this process with them, I can catch what they have. You intimated in your question that you're a little concerned about losing what you've gotten to this point. That you have this recovery to this point, and you like it, you've liked it, and you don't want to lose it. Well, going through the 12 steps or any other process of recovery or of personal or spiritual development can only bring you closer to the truth, which is where you want to go. It's what you've always asked for. You were just looking in some of the wrong places. If you're saying, I don't want to lose the feeling that my therapy is the way. If that's what you're saying, or I don't want my therapy to be called into question, that's an attachment. If that's what you're experiencing. So sometimes I've been with a therapist, I fell in head over heels in love with the work. And later on, I grew and I opened up and I reached new levels of understanding. And at some point, I started to feel disconnected from the therapist. And I was really let down. And it was painful. But I understood that I had grown beyond the nature of that particular relationship and the benefit of it. And it was time to move on. There was a natural progression into the next set of teachings. So your curiosity is really the answer to your inquiry. You have curiosity about it, and you have concern about, if I do this, will I lose something? You can only, let me put it this way. The only thing you can lose is misunderstanding. The only thing you can gain is connection with what is actually real. And I mean that in any situation. I speak to myself as much as I'm speaking to you. So if you have a curiosity there and you're enjoying the community and you can identify someone that you'd like to work with, I say, by all means, jump in, dive in, and do the work of the 12 steps and see for yourself what it is. If there's another hesitation which you haven't voiced with the 12 steps, then we're going to want to hear about that in a minute. But if the hesitation is, I'm concerned about losing the insights or the progress I've made to this point, that doesn't make sense to me. If you said, I'm concerned about uncovering something that's uncomfortable for me, that makes all the sense in the world. That makes a lot of sense to me. And I can almost guarantee that's going to happen, as it does for all of us. But isn't that great? That we come to greater and greater levels of understanding, greater and greater level of connection with the truth. And we come closer to ourself and our authentic expression in this world. And we become a little less attached to any one particular thing. Believe me, I deal with this question all the time, especially having an organization called Recovery 2.0. So many people come and they're like, they'll say something like, well, I've just let go of cannabis and I'm now I'm 30 days sober and, I really want to do some yoga. And I'm like, fantastic, let's do some yoga. We'll do a morning practice. I'll give you that. We'll do some breath work. Breath, really good for people who've been smoking. Let's do that work. Great. We'll do some meditation. Great. And have you ever worked the 12 steps? And they're like, I thought you were Recovery 2.0. And I'm like, well, do you think Recovery 2.0 excludes the genius work of the 12 steps? No. I'm a big advocate for it, but I don't think it's the only way. And I also don't think that somebody should make the 12 steps their life. I believe the 12 steps give you a life. And then you get to go out and live your life and be free and choose to, be helpful in the community in the ways that will present themselves as you move forward. But Elliot, I would need to know more about you personally to be able to, be more specific about this. But the quick answer is there are infinite paths to wholeness. Infinite. The 12 steps happen to be one of them that are a stepping stone to that as well. They work. And so I highly recommend them for anyone who can say, yes, I've struggled with addiction of some form or another. I actually recommend the 12 steps for everybody everywhere. I wish every human being would just go through the 12 steps one time in their life to the best of their ability and really, really look at the ways that they've been stuck in the past, the ways that they hold on to resentment, the ways they may have hurt other people, and go through a process of reconciling those hurts and those difficulties, and then finding a way to be of service in the world in a meaningful way. That's the 12 steps. That's really all it is. So I think those are good ideas, and I recommend them. And I'd love to know what comes up for you as you hear me exploring this.
Hi. Yeah, thank you so much. I suppose lots comes up. I really like when I suppose your question to me was, there something that I haven't voiced? And other than perhaps, I called it reluctance earlier, but perhaps a fear of actually doing some of the work in the 12 steps at, on a terms that are somebody else's, I suppose. When I do in my own process through therapy, that's kind of on my own terms. And um, so I think, yeah, perhaps there's definitely a fear there about, showing up and doing that work. I really like when you say that you don't want 12 steps to become your life and to get a life because of the 12 steps. And I think that was where, I felt that, because I don't want to feel like I have to have a life a certain way just so that I can do this. I want it to be adaptable and flexible, and you call it a path, and for me, a path is something that is ongoing, and I don't want there to be an ending to that.
Thank you. Let me say a few things about what you just said, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Okay. I really appreciate what you said. I think it's wonderful that you want to approach your life in a way that makes sense. I don't think you need to change that. I don't. I think there are many personality types. And as I said, I don't think there's one way that someone needs to go through the steps. I think there's room for exploration. I think coming at it with an attitude of curiosity, turning the fear into curiosity. I wonder what I could find here. Nobody should ever tell you what to believe. Ever. Nobody can do that, and you shouldn't let them. Now, if you were stuck in abject addiction, a severe alcoholic, you were at the end of your rope and you were dying, I might be able to tell you, please believe that if you stop drinking, you have a chance at a life. Now, maybe I could say that. But in terms of going through a spiritual process, the whole point of going through a spiritual process is for you to uncover from your own experience the truths that want to reveal themselves to you. The truths that want to reveal themselves to you. A teacher isn't someone who tells somebody what to believe. And if you find those teachers, you run away. Run away as quickly as you can, and I mean it. Your sponsor tells you what you should be believing? Out. Get a new sponsor. A teacher is somebody who helps you unpack the meaning and the power of your own experience. That's what a teacher is. They give you infinite space to have a process of awakening which belongs to you. However, you have to come with an open mind. And you have to come with an open heart. And if you don't, you will miss the teaching altogether. That's the rub, is you can't come here with prejudices, preconceived notions, contempt prior to investigation. You have to investigate with an open mind and an open heart. And if you're willing to do that, then you will find everything you need to find. On the second concern that you expressed just now, you call it a path. And your expression was, that's something that seems to never have an end. And I'd like there to be an end because it's uncomfortable to be on something that's never ending. I have really good news and really bad news for you. It's simultaneously good news and bad news. The thing that you truly are was never born, and it is never going to die. And now you're going to have to deal with that reality. It just doesn't work in the finite terms that you're thinking. Your life as you know it, as this identity, as Elliot, at some point you'll leave this body. But the thing that you truly are will continue. And you will take your mind, your consciousness with you. I'm sorry to report. That's the deal. You're on a never-ending path of discovery. And what would happen for you or anyone if there was truly an ending to this path, a beginning, a middle, and an end? A sense of completion, a sense of finality. I can get my mind around this because there's a final thing, or at least I know what I'm shooting for. I'm telling you right now, what I think we're all shooting for is love. Love, connection, but not love connected to another human being, just love, the thing itself. Truth, and then living from there, and then serving. Just serve. And don't worry. Don't worry. That's all you do, one day at a time, until you're done with this particular thing, and then you'll do something else. So, you can create in this life as many beginnings, middles, and ends as you want. You can take a course and study. You can go to school and study, and then you'll graduate. But then if you notice, you're still alive. You're still here. What are you going to do now that you're a graduate? I guess I'll apply my teachings. I guess I'll apply what I learned to go out in the world and do some stuff. Okay, great. Do it consciously. Do it lovingly. Then you might want to study something else or do something else. Or, I had, think about something that's never ending. I don't know if you're married or have children, but if you have children, the intention is that's going to last a while. That's going to go for a bit, like the rest of your life. Should you outlive your child, which is the normal thing that we know doesn't always happen. But so the fear of not wanting something to complete is you can create many completions through this world, but you're going to notice that there's an unfolding going on. There is an unfolding going on, and you becoming more and more comfortable with that unfolding, I think, just a little bit I know you, is a good idea. It's a good idea. Just the unfolding. And it's just, remember that even in the never-ending path of discovery, the unfolding that's taking place into infinity, it only ever is now. It will never not be. And so relating and developing a relationship with the present now, this moment now, is also a great, great idea for anyone who has this same discomfort with the never-ending nature of things. It's an illusion. I can tell you both things are true. There's an unfolding unto eternity. And yet it's only ever now, and it's never not been. And here I'll finish this inquiry by just simply saying the words of my dear friend and teacher, Anand. His teacher told him, I believe, there's only one miracle that ever happened. And it's still happening. You're it. We're it. This is it. The miracle is this. It's the only miracle that ever took place, and we get the good fortune of experiencing it in this way. So let's decide to be in the miracle, the only one, and celebrate this moment. A lot to think about, and a lot comes up in this beautiful inquiry. I want to thank you so much, Elliot. I know you are from the great land of England, and I hope to meet you hopefully this summer when we're going on retreat out there. Maybe you come and be with us. That would be truly, truly a joy for me. I hope you'll come. So I want to thank you both for your inquiries and your presence today. And Elliot, thank you for this last inquiry and everything you shared, and your vulnerability and your eloquence in voicing something that is a complex idea. Thank you so much. And I know everyone benefits from it. And so we'll connect again really, really soon. Yeah. And if you want to say anything else, please feel free.
Just thank you very much for your words, I suppose. It is a complex inquiry, and it's one that I'm sat with at the moment, and I will find a way through it. And I'm really grateful for you to say some words on it. And yeah, thank you so much.
Beautiful. And there are many, many approaches to the 12 steps also. You can come to Recovery 2.0 meetings and go through the Recovery 2.0 12 steps. You've got every fellowship out there in the world that you're already in. There's yoga and 12-step recovery. That's with Nikki Myers and those folks. There's Buddhist-based recovery with all those. I mean, there's just so many opportunities to jump in. And the steps really are something special. Maybe you'll be inspired to give them a try.